This is Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
We begin with an update tonight on yesterday's plane crash that left 4 people dead. It happened in the very early morning hours near Alpine, Wyoming, just after takeoff. We now know it was a single-engine plane carrying 4 passengers. It crashed about a mile from the airport. The Bonneville County Sheriff's Office tells us that Jerry David Anderson, his wife Jessica Ann Anderson, along with Thomas Brooks Summers and his wife Heidi Summers, were killed in that crash. They say David Anderson was the pilot. Debris can be seen today on the bank of the Palisades Reservoir. The plane completely burned. We have a statement tonight from Dwayne Yost, who worked with Dave Anderson at Anderson Manufacturing in Bonneville County. He said, quote, "Dave Anderson was a phenomenal guy. He lived for his family. This is a real tragedy," end quote. Ryan Anderson is president of Anderson Manufacturing. Ryan is not related to Dave. He had this to say about Dave, quote, "Dave was a great employee. We loved him. Our families were best friends and did lots of fun things together. Dave was family oriented and always wanted to be with his kids and his wife," end quote. Now here's a picture of the Anderson family that I got tonight. As for the Summers, Bryce Burtonshaw, a family member and partner at Family Dental Health Center with Brooke Summers, said this, quote, "Brooke and Heidi were loved by all and will be deeply missed by their family, friends, patients, and the staff of Family Dental Health Center," end quote. Here's a picture of the Summers family. Ryan Anderson was also their neighbor. He says, quote, "The Summers were great neighbors. They would do anything for you. Our kids are best friends. It's a great loss to lose 4 great friends," end quote. A bank account has been set up for the Summers kids at any Zions Bank. You can make that contribution. Now, in the last 6 months, there have been 3 other crashes in this area or nearby. So let's go back to the month of August. Small plane, as you recall, hit some power lines that went over the Snake River just west of the Palisades Dam near Irwin. The pilot was flying low trying to view the river and saw the power lines at the last moment before they snagged them and put the plane down in the river. Both people on board were able to walk away from the crash. Then this in October, you may recall the 911 call of a daughter trying to save her father's life. They crashed their plane just north of the reservoir near the top of the mountain. 14-year-old Annabeth Hamilton survived and was flown out. Her father, Travis Hamilton, was killed. Then in the month of January of this year, just a couple months ago, another horrific accident, this time involving a teen. Their plane crashed just north of Alpine Airport along the reservoir, not very far from where yesterday's crash happened. Jump roper Mackenzie Rustin and Reed Genslinger were both killed. The rescuers had to use snowmobiles to get to that crash. We tried speaking with people in Afton today, and none of them could explain why this area has seen so many plane crashes in just the last few months. Now I want to take a minute and just have an honest conversation with you, not news guy. Our community lost 4 people. It's much more than that. 7 kids don't have a mom and a dad tonight. Now, my daughter is best friends with the Anderson girls. They spent time together the very night before this happened at my house. And I learned something. It's very awkward being in this spot. This is not about me. It's not hard. The kids have it hard. But it's awkward to tell you the news and yet have it hit so close. But I think what I learned, I think too often in these stories we become desensitized. It's always somebody else. But I learned this, that somebody is someone to somebody. They are somebody's parents or somebody's kids. And I think with any horrible news, that social media changes us to becoming desensitized, where we feel that we can be removed from the actual situation, but we feel yet privy to making a comment about any news. I would like to challenge our community to unify, come together, be nicer to one another, and we will really need to come together and rally around these kids, these 7 kids. A society and even the nation right now has become so divided. But I'd like to think we don't do that here. We think before we act, we think before we speak, and we think before we post any such hurtful words about anything. We think of what really matters most in life. We'll be right back.